So, whenever I wanted to make any changes in my life or implement any new habits, I thought that for years I thought that discipline was the answer. But I don't think discipline is where it begins. I don't think discipline is the cause of true change in my experience. I think awareness comes before discipline. I don't think you can practice discipline without awareness. Not if you want any long-lasting change that's consistent. And I'll give a concrete example. Let's say you want to put away some money for an emergency fund. And you want to, let's say, maybe cut your food budget. How are you going to do that if you don't have any idea how much money you typically spend on food? Or if you don't know how much money you need for bills and gas and food and your subscriptions and anything else that you might be unaware of. I've done this before when I was trying to transition from living paycheck to paycheck, and I wanted to start putting away money for my emergency fund. I think there was one time I took a paycheck and I took 70% of my earnings and put it straight into my savings account. I didn't have any awareness of how much money I was spending on food or anything else. I didn't do any kind of tracking, had no awareness of where my money was going. But I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just put 70% of my paycheck into my savings account. And what happened is I ended up going back into my savings, taking money out for this, taking money out for that, and it didn't really last that long because I didn't know where my money was going. So again, how are you going to save money or save for an emergency expense or a car or whatever if you don't know exactly where your money is going? I mean, let's say you want to start going to the gym. Let's say you want to go every single day. Okay, do you know how often have you already been going? Do you have any awareness of how often you go to the gym? Or if you're trying to lose weight, you want to cut calories. Okay, do you know how many calories you typically consume in a day? Or before you go into your keto diet and say, okay, I'm going to consume less than 10 grams of carbs a day, do you know how many carbs you typically consume? See, it's these little things that's important. So this is just simply observing yourself before you dive into discipline. Before if you're used to maybe living a sedentary life and you want to start working out on a daily, or maybe you're used to maybe only working out maybe once a week, then maybe you kind of slowly progress. Maybe it's not necessary for you to go every single day. Maybe going four times a week, is necessary for you to maintain your muscle or whatever. So sometimes awareness, it not only can help you figure out the root of the problem, but it also can stop you from doing anything unnecessary. Like for me, maybe it wasn't necessary for me to save 70% of my paycheck. Maybe if I would have tracked my spending and knew exactly how much money I needed for needs and how much I needed for wants, and let's say I was able to find a way to cut all my subscriptions, and I found out maybe I only needed to save 25% instead of saving a whole 70%. So awareness is something I'm starting to implement with every single habit I have. It's just a realization I recently had, because I used to go cold turkey on some habits. I just don't, in my experience, every time I've tried to practice discipline, and I lack the awareness of like all those unconscious patterns, like for those who are trying to save money, if you have I'm sure you have some unconscious spending habits, like when you're at the store, and you just swipe your debit card, your credit card, and you're not aware of like what you're spending your money on. For us who are trying to lose weight, if you're not fully like present and like conscious of the things that you eat, when it's time for us to eat dinner or lunch, I think most of us, we do it unconsciously. And we're not fully present of what we're putting into our bodies. So it's just simply an observation of what you're already doing. And so that's why I say that awareness is the first step. Because you can't change what you haven't observed.